like Tia says, a lot of don't worry, just do it. Keep. You think you cannot do it? Why? We're cooks. We want to be the best one. Just keep trying, keep making, and keep going.
For the love of this special place, with its purple mountain majesties and amber waves of grain. For the love of building something to share, building friendships, and building community. For the love of a place where we can always just relax and be ourselves. Bristol Brewing thanks our amazing home for more than 30 years of sharing our beers and our hearts.
Welcome to Tap and Table, where we explore all things food and drink around Colorado Springs. I'm Matthew Schniper. This is my co-host, Ryan Hannigan, and we are joined by three special guests, a very talented trio of top chefs here at the Broadmoor, a 5-star, 5-diamond luxury resort on the west side of Colorado Springs.
We're filming this episode inside of Ristorante del Lago, which is here on the west side of the property. And we're going to introduce you to each one of these chefs one at a time, give you a little brief background, and then jump into some questions.
All right, beginning with Tia Allen. She is the executive sous chef of restaurants and oversees a wide variety of restaurants, lounges, and cafes at the Broadmoor. She's been here since 2014. She started at Ristorante del Lago, and then she moved over to Garde Manger manager in 2015. And then she came back to Del Lago in 2020. So this is sort of her home stomping ground where we're filming today.
And we'll just go on down the line here. We have Rocio Palmer is the Chef de Cuisine at Summit, the American Brasserie. Brasserie. I always get that word wrong. Palmer was raised in Peru, where she fell in love with the culinary arts by sharing a kitchen with her grandmother. She formerly studied cooking in culinary school, but also pursued a degree in farming and agronomy. Agronomy. That's another word. See, I'm messing up all the words today.
I know.
You're usually the one.
Agronomy.
She's also
they rhyme. I should just get them down. And those things deeply informed her devotion to seasonality and whole animal zero waste cooking. She joined the Broadmoor in 2008 as an international culinary extern and has held a litany of positions at the restaurant or the resort, most recently as sous chef here at Ristorante del Lago.
all right.
Did I get it right? I think so.
Let's see.
You get an 80 on pronunciation.
I got about. I'll take a C for that.
It's okay. Let's see how bad I do now. All right. So, Chef Randi Powell is Chef de Cuisine at Ristorante del Lago, which is known for authentic Italian dining. Most recently, Powell was the Broadmoor's wilderness chef, overseeing culinary operations at Cloud Camp, the ranch at Emerald Valley, and fly fishing camp. Why are you down here? You should be back there. That's the beautiful place. She was raised in Connecticut and attended Colorado College, my alma mater as well. We'll talk about that. We might have time to talk about that. And then she started her culinary career at the Broadmoor's Culinary Apprenticeship program, which, if you don't know about it, a bunch of great chefs that are in the Springs market right now working came through that program. The Broadmoor is a big feeder of talent in this town and maybe underappreciated for it for folks who don't know. So glad we're mentioning that today. That's an awesome program. Cool. You want me to start?
Yeah, you're starting.
All right, I'm going to start.
You know this stuff, so I'm just here for the color commentary.
Oh, good. Like always. You know what, Mr. Cullen, do you want to open some beers for us before I get going?
I can do that.
All right.
We could start with both these beers are brewed by Red Leg for the Broadmoor exclusively. We've got the Prospector's Pick, which is a Kolsch, and their Golden Lion ESB. So what would you prefer to start with, Kolsch or ESB?
Kolsch.
Kolsch. All right.
Yes, it's that kind of day. It's like a little bit hotter out. I think we're thinking Kolsch.
Trying to get some liveliness here.
Yeah. I think there's something else at the bottom of that for you, Ryan, if you want to open that next too. But while he's pouring, I'm going to jump into this first topic. And again, bear with me. It's sort of a long setup, but it's going to have a great payoff, I promise. So stick with me. So we are going to get to food details and some really cool stuff. But I want to start by addressing the really obvious thing, which is to acknowledge the fact that the Broadmoor has placed many women in these senior positions in the kitchens here. I know it's 2024, and by now we all know that women can do everything men can do and probably better, most of the time better. But the culinary world is steeped in patriarchy and misogyny, if we're honest. So yay, Broadmoor, for not doing that. But I want to know if this is something you talk about too amongst your teams. Like, do you recognize and honor the role of women in these high positions here? Anyone can jump in on that one.
Sometimes it's difficult to earn or gain respect from some people around here in our kitchen just because of different cultures that we work with. There are several cultures around there in the world that women are not respectable, and being a leader, they don't respect them. So it's sometimes hard to gain that from them, but we're strong-willed women and we just accomplish that easy enough.
I think that a lot coming from we are cooks, so we want to do the whole thing of cooking. We're gonna show them. We're gonna see what expectations are, and it's not a change because you was raised here or because you was in this school or because you was an apprentice or because you're a man or a girl. It's just we're cooks. Our expectations are high. We're gonna learn more every day. We're gonna be better, and we want to be the best, all of us. So it's a process for all of us.
I'm very proud to be a woman in the kitchen, most definitely, especially in a male-dominated position. But it's also, we all want to be the best chef, right? Yes, we're all women, but we also all came to our positions for the reason of, we excelled, we pushed ourselves. I like to think that we earned those jobs not based on, gender, overcoming any barriers. Yes, there were some to overcome, but in the end, we are all chefs.
Yeah, it sounds like, again, it's not tokenism. Like, oh, we need some more women on the roster. Let's find one to promote. You're like, no, we earned this. So everyone obviously earned it. Like, and they're not just rewarding someone who didn't belong in the role. You obviously have the talent. You've found that position. But I just wondered if it's still something you think about that's special, where you're like, knowledge of like, I had one more barrier in front of me than other people had. It's kind of like when we talk about race topics in America, there are certain communities that are disenfranchised in certain ways. They've got that one more barrier to do that basic thing that the rest of us didn't have, or some of us didn't have. So I just wondered if it felt like that. Is it palpable in a way?
I came from Peru because there was less choices from savory area for women. They were always like trying to push me to do chocolate or pastry, and I'm very bad at that. And then when I came here, it's a lot of showing them the other ones. We have people from Mexico, from Guatemala, from South Africa, from different countries with that is still the norm. So it's good for us to show them we're cooks, period. It doesn't matter as much as we made the work, we cook, we make good food, and we elevate each other.
I think a lot of it comes from our backgrounds as well. Like, we're all our own individuals, but I mean, me personally, I'm very stubborn. And when somebody tells me you can't do that, I'm gonna prove them wrong. And so you're like, well, yeah, I can. Watch this. So that's also part of why we are in our roles as well.
We're cooks. We are stubborn.
Yeah.
That's a good quote. We're cooks. We're stubborn. Headline of the episode.
Could you two just angle your microphone down just a little bit?
Yes.
Just aim it a little bit more straight on. Perfect.
Cool.
I just needed
Did
to
he
make
just
sure.
call me sure?
Did you want to add anything to that one before we moved on?
Table's too
No, I
tall.
think we're good.
Okay. And I will move us to some new topics soon. I'm going to stay just a little bit longer on the topic of women in the kitchens, women in the industry. I was talking recently with the director of operations at 4 by Brother Luck, and he was proud to tell me that under Chef Ashley Brown there, who was just on Chopped, you might have seen that, but their whole kitchen right now is also female staffed. I was just thinking about it, got me thinking, I wondered, like, it's one more example of the fine dining level locally where we have women in kitchens. I was thinking about Chef Nora Dillon over at Ephemera, same thing, like strong woman, strong kitchen, doing awesome food. It's just great to see the fine dining scene has a lot of women in the kitchens right now in prominent roles. I guess the question off that is somewhat speculative. I wondered do you think there's a momentum happening right now that maybe wasn't happening even 5 or 10 years ago? Maybe when you're talking to your colleagues, friends, or just looking around town as well. Is something afoot, or am I reading into it? Feel free to tell me I'm wrong.
I think the industry has changed quite a bit since I started, where you had that prototype in the kitchen of what the male chef was, and also just that male leader archetype in general of, you are the domineering, you are right, you are the correct screaming at your minions or whatnot. We've changed that tremendously, I think, in many places in the workforce, but the kitchen was one of the ones that you can see how quickly we've walked away from that and a little bit more into, not soft and, let me hold your hand, but more understanding. Let's have a dialogue about things. Let's, nobody's right or wrong. Let's try to figure out where we're coming at the situation together. I think that mentality has definitely seeped its way into the kitchen, and that might be why more people feel like they can be included.
So creating a more welcoming environment, basically, that is less screamy. So you're not screamers. I'm hearing none of you are yelling in your kitchens.
Can get very loud.
Note off camera. Tia just pointed to Rocio.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, that's part of our roles and as leaders. You need to have a voice, and to have a voice and be respected, sometimes you do need to get a little bit loud. And that's just to be clear and to be precise and show the expectation. And that doesn't just say that only men can yell in the kitchen. Women can yell in the kitchen as well. And like I said before, we just that respect aspect of everything and getting our point across. And our voices aren't as projectory as most men, so we have to raise them a little bit. So some portray it as loud yelling. But
you were all in the industry around the Me Too era, so you were there before and after. I wondered, do you think that was also a defining time in which we saw things detoxify the way that it always needed to, where we're now seeing the results of that? Do you feel like that's a watershed moment? Did it impact where we are?
I think we've been seeing slowly just ticking away at the toxic. Be it work culture in particular. That was one movement that, brought more voices to the table. And then, we need to acknowledge, is this happening? Are we listening? I do think that has created a different kind of workspace and procedures and how we move about our days.
Not only that, I think that also get us to a lot of cooks the whole, well, I saw this, I don't think it's fair, I'm good, what else do I need? Because there was a lot of that. I'm older than everybody here. Long time ago, there was like, well, I'm doing this, what I'm doing wrong, why this person and me, what's the difference? There's none, we're cooks. So
even the playing field really for just everybody and overall.
Women in general, I think we are more like, we want to know what is wrong and fix it. Some guys was more like I want the position. Come on, give me the position.
Entitlement.
Give me that one. And in my defense, I only scream because I'm short and they don't see me.
Well, also in your defense, I spoke to one of your former colleagues today. I was having lunch with Sapanza Banker.
Oh.
And she said you were tough to work for, that it was a lot of tough love, but she had to earn it. And of course, once she did, she just loves you now and thinks you're like the greatest, one of those formative people in her career that really helped her come up.
I call it the Stockholm syndrome.
It could be. I'll run that back by her. But she said you have very high standards, but it made her a better chef.
I do. I have very high standards, and even more for myself. I'm very, very hard to believe that I cannot ask somebody else to do something that I will not do. I told my guys, don't wait for me to find out. I'll find out. If you're not sure, if you will not give this food to the guests, don't give it to them. If you will not this to somebody that you care for, don't give it to anybody. Just be yourself. Be conscious of what you're doing. It's for me, it's a lot of that of self. I don't know how to call that. It's a very strong English word.
So gender aside, like you talked about, this high standard you have for yourself, and Sponsa said the same sort of similar things of having this high standard. What's it like cooking at the 5-star level, where basically you're almost expected perfection, which we all know, doesn't happen all the time. What's that like? I want to throw it to Tia first.
What's that like? So, I mean, being held to that high standard, you have to hold yourself to a high standard as well. So that's inside and outside of work. So even, my household at home is very clean and very organized. And my husband also works here and within the industry too. So having 2 chefs in the house and held to the same standard at work, it translates to home. And when you just do it daily and in, day out, and you even go to the grocery store and you're using your kitchen words at the grocery store, living it day in and day out.
You're yelling like two aisles over, honey, they've 86 the chicken.
Maybe. Just living it day in and day out, it makes it easier to come into work and just do it and live it. Like I said, just live it in and out, and having that big picture across campus and the different concepts and everything. Live it.
It's a lifestyle.
Yes, it is. Very much a lifestyle.
Yeah. For like Tia says, it's an everyday, every single situation. We made that joke that, did you ate today, chef? No.
We all say that to each other when we see each other.
We're
No,
but
but
checking in on each other and less on ourselves.
How often is the answer, no, you have not eaten today?
Often enough.
no, the answer is normally, oh, do you make me something? What did you bring?
Yeah.
What did you make? Okay. No, it's we forgot that part, but it's a lot of like looking for ingredients, looking for trends, looking for this and everything. It's a constant push yourself to be better and better and better, and just keep going and going and going.
Do you push each other too? Is it collaborative in that way?
It's my job to push them, of course. I oversee their operations, and it can be difficult at times. Like she said, she's a little bit older than all of us and has a little bit more experience than us as well, but still just pushing each other. It keeps you in it. It keeps you active. It keeps you going further. And, with the Broadmoor being 106 years old, you still have to be relative to what's going on in the world. So
I think there's a lot of, you cannot be better if somebody else cannot tell you you did something better. So you need somebody to push you. You need somebody who tell you, hey, maybe fix this, maybe fix the other. It's a big collaboration with Tia, with Mille, with Randi. When we get that time to go to work together in this kitchen or this party or things like that, it's a lot of, oh, do you like this? Because maybe we can do that one, or maybe we can do this. And it's what you think for yourself can be good. We've been trained to be good and to be a lot of stuff and everything, but we still need everybody else to give us you didn't saw this side, or maybe, oh yeah, maybe that. It's the whole, only one thing. We was talking about, maybe use some corn. Oh, and then we can put this one, and then that one, and then it's like, like, guess what? The dish is completely another one now.
So the camaraderie sort of boost everything up.
Oh, yeah.
We're very fortunate to be able to work this closely together. And I think we all, as chefs on this property, as huge as it is, we all have a very good rapport with each other. I trust everybody I work with. And if I'm bouncing ideas off of my sous chef, I'm also probably talking to Chef Rocio about some things, talking to Chef Tia about what she's seen before in Ristorante del Lago. I think we are very fortunate to have an environment that we work in like that.
Do you get to regularly try each other's menus before they release? Let's say you're doing a spring menu update or something and you're about to roll out a whole new list. Do you actually get to go eat all of that side by side and kind of workshop it, or there's not enough time, there's too much going on, you're like, well, we get bits and pieces, and then we trust some of the other oversight chefs to come take care at that level? What does that look like?
It's a mix. Like, for example, in Summit, we have tasting menu, and it's basically what we can work for the next menu or whatever we have seasoned, and we can make those changes. If I'm gonna do pasta, I already work in the Lago, but hey, can you make this one and that one? So I only have to make this gluten-free instead, or it's like that. Or I'm trying this one. Do you have this cheese? No, but I have this other one that's gonna come in. Oh, and I got a piece. Yeah, sure, I give you something. Perfect. It's the whole. I saw something you may gonna like. We may not get to see the whole menu or the whole process, but we are one way and the other. This maybe you know more. Maybe you can try this one, and then it's the whole hair job part, which is all the paperwork and thing.
I mean, we're in and out of each other's kitchens quite often, and we do get to see a lot of what each other is doing and conceptualizing within their departments and restaurants and everything. So we're not just kind of stuck in our little bubble here or there or there. We do get out and see each other around, and sometimes in our free time. But
What's that?
What free time? There's no free time. What about as individuals? How much influence do you get to have on your menus? Does Randi get to have a impact here? Or is it more like, you're cooking classic Italian, so go with that? I know you've gotten some Peruvian dishes onto Summit's menu. Is that sort of by like an allowed percentage? Like, well, we'll give you a little bit of personality, but the rest has got to play to this whole brasserie concept.
But it has to make sense. It has to make sense for where we are. I mean, yes, I have a pasta dish on Summit, but I'm not trying to make that pasta dish that is traditional from this section. There's nothing. That's for Chef Randi. She's in the Italian place. But it's a lot of things that it can work because we got a product in the farm or in the greenhouse, or we had a Wagyu from Eagle's Nest, or maybe it's just because, you know what, we have a lot of guests that are self-conscious and we have vegetarian dishes more, or gluten-free, or this and the other one. We have a gluten-free pasta in the menu right now. We was like, well, used to be say it's gonna be different, blah, blah, blah. It's one of the bigger sellers we have right now.
That's how it works. I feel like
That's right.
you put something sort of that you think is different on, and people like go gangbusters for it.
Yeah.
I mean, like she said, it's got to make sense. I'm not going to have a steak and a potato here in Del Lago. That's not what people come to Del Lago for. They're going to want that in the tavern restaurant. English food would not work over here, obviously. We're going to leave that for Golden Bee. So that's why we have such an eclectic assortment of restaurants on property. So somebody, I kind of want Domino's. Well, can't get Domino's here. We'll go to Del Lago. Or I really want a celebratory dinner and it's my anniversary. Well, let's go to Summit and have something really, really nice. So as far as like Rocio putting something Peruvian on her dish or on her menu, it happens occasionally, but keeping true to concept is important. We can't have a mishmash of everything on every menu.
I'm thinking about that Summit Trio starter with the different seafood items. That's a good example. It fits, it matches, it's delicious, it's beautiful. It works in that setting, but it is, in that case, coming from Peruvian inspiration, at least on one of those compartments of that plate. I think there's like a Thai, there's a Thai and a Japanese and a Peruvian, is that right?
So they're all like classic Peruvian flavors. It's just originated because of the influences that we have in Peru from the Asian, the classic, which is right in the center, and then the Italian influence that we have, which is the tiradito.
Yeah, I had that again last week. That's such a great dish. It's fantastic. So, and I also recently got to do Del Lago, which was also a big treat. You served us you had a watermelon with, what was that? There was a starter.
Yes, sir. Prosciutto and melon, marinated melon salad. We do a lot of specials as well, I think, in all of our outlets. I do think we have quite a bit of voice in our menus, and it's just, again, going within the parameters of, yes, I'm the Italian restaurant. I'm going to research the heck out of Italian cuisine. I'm not going to be like, oh, I saw, David Chang do something really cool with chicken. I think we should put it on Del Lago's menu. Fortunately, I have play where I get to play around with some of the more modern American cuisines. But in that, when we are right now we're in menu development for winter. There's a lot of say that the chefs get of their own kitchen, of being like, I think this makes sense. This is what I'm seeing at trends in sales. Like this protein would kill it over here, and this is how I want to transform it for our restaurant.
And I want to dwell back on that prosciutto and melon for just a moment. When I first saw it on the menu, I thought about every sad little melon ball thing I've been served at a wedding somewhere with a little toothpick through it. We've had that 1,000 times and it's not special. This was mind blowing. The prosciutto alone was like, holy cow. And that speaks to the sourcing. And a lot of people may not know this, but Broadmoor sources incredible products. You have exclusive and rare things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's something like a Parmesan here that only 6 places in the world have access to. I've been told that story before. That's just one example, but that prosciutto was another where it's so good. It's like the prosciutto and melon you've never had that you need in your life, and everything's different after that. Every other prosciutto will be sad and you'll be wishing you were here. It's already disturbed me a little bit and I've had some sleepless nights over it. But I know your VP, David Patterson, VP of Food and Beverage. We've been doing this Meet the Maker series over the last several months. I've been fortunate to attend some of those, thanks to Krista. And those celebrate the products and the maker, and they're just a great way to highlight those. I kind of wanted to know what it's like to handle those primo ingredients. Like I was thinking about this earlier. Like you've got this, again, the prosciutto, the Parmesan, these, lemon oil, these really awesome things. Do you hold that thing with reverence? Is it like handing a baby to somebody, or is it like, it's different than the onion you're just going to chop from your pois? Like that's just an onion. Who cares?
No, you still care for that.
You care for it.
You still care for that.
You care for the onion too.
Yeah.
Like the Parmesan.
Because if you have an onion, I can use the end pieces, make them brulee, so my sauce gonna be darker. I use the outside of the skin to make my stock, my vegetarian stock maybe, and I use all the inside to make, I don't know, even a simple brown butter or onion puree. You have 3 different things that are very important in Summit right now.
Also, on top of that, we have a greenhouse that we manage here on property, and our apprentices really own and take care of that. Now, if they're going to pull a zucchini out of the ground or a carrot out of the ground, they put their hard work into that, and they harvested that piece from a seed all the way to an edible product. They want to use that top of that carrot. They want to use the peel of that carrot in the stock. They want to use the meat of that carrot for a carrot salad. Like they're going to utilize every single piece of that ingredient because they raised it. It's like you're proud of that product. And even when you receive product from another country, like in Italy, like that's gold. It's gold to be able to have that privilege to come and have that here.
It's I remember when I was here, there was a moment when there was like 5 different kind of Parmesan already. Yeah, there's almost nowhere else out of Italy to have 5, 6 different kind of Parmesan or 3 different kind of pecorino. Like, chef, you have 3? Yeah. Why? It was the option. When is the next time you're gonna get to taste this, to see this different? There are different. This is from this area. This one is for this one. It's different, and there's like how you combine it. What will you pairing with this? How will you use it, and how will you use the whole thing? It's a matter of respect. In my case, it's my background in agronomy. It's also about the family, how we use everything. So it's about of that.
That respect starts with that onion too. So it's impossible to respect the Pio Tuscini prosciutto and the Valserena Parmesan if you don't respect the onion that you're cutting. It's the same thing that you're teaching your culinarians, you're teaching your cooks to do. It is very scary sometimes. Where it's like I make it a habit of going around and just like checking trash bins, being like, how much are we wasting? What do you see as waste versus what is actual waste? And that's also another opportunity to learn and teach. Which I mean, constantly I joke that like I never wanted to be a teacher. Like my mother was in education, and I decided very early that no, not for me. I'm not going to go on that path, and that is exactly what I do every single day. Is I come in, I teach for however many hours and then go home. That's what it is.
You get food in the middle, so it's
Yeah, there is some food.
When you remind each other to eat it, that is.
Yes.
So along those lines, when did you make the decision that food was the path for you? And I'll ask this to all three of you. Like when in your life did you decide that you were going to be a chef and that you wanted to make food as your day-to-day thing?
I majored in art in Colorado College. Colorado College does not have a food and beverage or a hospitality program to it.
Nor did they have a journalism program. I'm going to throw that out there.
Exactly. And I had a huge anxiety attack when I was about to leave because I was very good at college and especially Colorado College and their format. So I was shaken quite a bit, having studied pretty intensely art and then art history and how to apply that in the world and make a career out of that. One of my advisors told me, you seem to like to bring in food to us, because I did. I would often bake at that time, which I hardly do now, but I would bring in a lot of baked goods. I would bring in, some food that I would cook together with my roommates and share it with the class. And he was like, a lot of us, artists, find ourselves somewhere in the back of house. He was like, it's still such a creative pursuit. You're creating an experience for an audience, and it really just clicked in my mind of maybe that is something that I should look into and pursue. And fortunately, the Broadmoor had the apprentice program, because after CC and completing that, I was like, well, I don't have the funds or really not the confidence to invest in another pretty expensive degree that might go nowhere.
I graduated with the creative writing degree. I was like, what did I just do?
Yeah, no,
and then I spent 5 more years at restaurants before I got into journalism. So totally with you. But it did what it was supposed to do. Liberal arts background prepares you for anything and everything. And we apply a lot of what we learn. So you get to do art in the kitchen, and I get to do creative writing as journalism, sort of. So it worked out in the end for us both. Maybe?
Yes.
I think so.
Rocio, how did you find food as your profession?
I'm a very bad Latina. I don't like touching people or hugging people, but I care for my family. We share a lot of the cooking, especially with my grandma, because my mom did not cook very good at all. So it was a lot for me to sharing with my grandma, sharing with my brothers, sharing with the rest of the family. And again, in Peru, there wasn't a culinary degree, so if I cannot cook it, maybe I grow it. So I studied agronomy and zootechnia and everything about growing the produce. And eventually we was able to do tourist services. But for me, it's more about show people we care, spoil them like that. It's details in my case, a lot.
So I am the oldest of 9, and when you put all of us together, that's a lot of mouths to feed.
It's a lot of food.
So with me being the oldest and my parents trying to provide for all of us, they were away and working as much as they could and trying to support us. There was times of the year and times of our lives we weren't as fortunate to have everything that you could ever expect to feed 9 people. You ate out of a can sometimes. You had cereal for dinner. But being that and taking care of others at a younger age, 8, 9, 10 years old, cooking dinner for all of my siblings and myself, and helping my parents kind of take on that leadership role, I guess you could say, of being that mother to take care of all of these other children. So I started doing that at a young age. I wanted to get away from it originally, and I wanted to go into nursing or veterinary care and take care of all the animals that we also seemed to acquire when I was younger as well. And then I learned that was 12 more years of schooling. That was nothing that I really wanted to get into, 12 more years of schooling. So I went to the community college that we had where I grew up in Ohio, and you had to pick 3 different occupations you could potentially do in your life. And I picked a nursing class. I picked, something else. And then there was a culinary class. And so I picked the 3. I didn't even go to the other 2. The culinary one was the first one that I went to and exercised in. Their exercise was, here's a giant sugar cookie with the biggest buffet of toppings that you could ever think of to put on a sugar cookie. I decorated the sugar cookie. I can't tell you to this day what I put on that sugar cookie, but the CEO of the community college was walking around that day and saw my cookie and asked if he could take a picture of it. Took a picture of my cookie and it ended up being on the cover of their like community magazine for that week or something like that. And then I was like, maybe I can do something. So I was going to originally go for baking and pastry. And my financial advisor for all of that was like, well, what about savory? You know, you could always come back and do baking and pastry. I said, yeah, that's actually a good idea. I could come back. You don't go back, especially when your student loans start stacking up and you don't go back. So I got sucked into the savory world of things and fell in love with it and just kind of went from there and went and did my own thing. Left the house and went on.
Not to offend my vegan friends, but in a way you are still working with animals after all.
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a topic shift. And before I do, can I get a little bit of the trail water out of that delightful little basket of goodies to drink? Because I finished my delicious red leg beer.
I don't see it in here.
All right, whatever is pouring, I'll accept more of, and thank you. So topic shift would be, all right, this is for our listeners. I'm going to give you a pro tip, which is take advantage of Colorado Appreciation Month at the Broadmoor. That's in February each year. During that whole month, the property offers prefix menus. They range from $49 to $69. It's a great deal. It's very affordable entry point for enjoying the fine splendor of the Broadmoor itself. So do that. But for someone who's maybe special occasion dining soon, what are some items on your current menus that locals should come for? If you just had to pick a dish or two each, what's the must-get thing right now?
I'm gonna go with ceviche.
Tell us about it.
We do a spin of the three different more classic ceviches on Peru. The classic one is just lime juice, cilantro, and a chili paste. We use rocoto, which is from the city on Lima, where I grow, and we use any kind of fish that my Sandy tell me that they're gonna send me. Sandy's my fish lady. Okay, I got this. Okay, Sandy, 2 pounds, 3 pounds for today. Send me more whenever. And then we have the salmon tiradito, which is a more mild flavor. It has olive oil, so it's more like Italian influences from Peru. And then we have the Nikkei, which is the Asian that you like the most, I think. Mm-hmm. It's the ahi tuna crusted with sesame and avocado puree, ponzu cream sauce. Very simple.
All right, pick one more dish at Summit right now.
Oh, I do like fish, so I have to pick the sable fish. Is brioche crusted. We made the brioche on the house. Our baker made those ones every day for us. So we crust the sable fish. We have a bodovan and curry spices with cauliflower, and we also make a crust with dry olives and the fish. So they had like this curry and this yellow color and black on it.
You were kind enough to give me a sample of that. It was amazing. That was a great dish.
I didn't do that one.
You did.
I thought I sent you the chorizo.
I think you sent me both. You buried us in food for,
It's my way to say I like you. Sorry.
Right. You may not.
I'm sorry for
liking
me.
Stop complaining.
I'm not complaining. Burying in food is a good thing.
Just wait until he's coming to Summit.
Right. Randy, tell us a couple dishes at Del Lago right now people should aim for.
One of my favorite boards that we have that I think is really special is that we have a Parmesan flight. So there are 3 classic breeds of cow traditionally used in Parmesan making. There's the red, the white, and the brown cow. We have 3 producers that use only the milks from those 3 classic cows. So you can actually taste the differences in those cheeses. And they're all, the decision to use that is milk yield, fat content, sugar content, all of those things. And they really present themselves very clearly when you can taste them side by side. That's one of my favorite things that we've been doing for a little bit now. I agree. I think you need to try our prosciutto in any format. Just a little taste of it. It's the best prosciutto that I have encountered. I've been to Italy a few times. I grew up in the Northeast, where my love for Italian food will always be ingrained in me. I haven't encountered prosciutto like Pio Tosini. And it's one of those products where it's because they still recognize the importance of tradition. They still have people hand salting the hams. They stick they have specialists who know when the prosciutto is done by sticking in a horse bone into the ham and then smelling it to see that it's aged correctly. Like it's such an interesting process, and that all of that work, all of that tradition, you can taste in that end product. Of course, come and have pasta. I think our pasta is bar none. We make it fresh daily. One of my favorite items on the menu right now, being summer, I always think of seafood for summer. We have a frutti mare, which is a collection of different seafoods. We have little neck clams, squid, and shrimp, red shrimp on there. One thing that I think is really special about that, and I was happy that it was selling as well as it is the calamorata pasta, which is a squid ink pasta, and it's cut in little tubes to reflect the rings of the squid. And I wasn't sure putting a black pasta on the menu. I was like, I know that we're way more foodie in our culture and all of this, but I'm like, I'm not quite sure if the reception of this will be as with open arms as I thought, but people have really enjoyed that pasta, and we rarely get it subbed out for just, can I get that with spaghetti? Can I get that with any other noodle that doesn't have squid ink in it? So I really enjoy that pasta.
Squid ink is definitely a polarizing ingredient.
Yes, it's a super Southern Italian dish that I was able to introduce.
Before we move to Tia, I want to know the way you were describing that prosciutto and your knowledge, the deep knowledge of this product. Obviously, you can read about it and tell these stories, but you gave me the sense that you've almost been there. Like, do you get to travel? Does the Broadmoor send their chefs to these things? Have you gotten to stand in some of these places and meet the maker yourself too?
Yes. So recently, last year, both the manager of Ristorante del Lago, Lena Johnson, and I were able to travel to Piedmont and Parma and interact with a lot of the producers that we see every day. We see these products. We've been working with these products since Ristorante del Lago has opened. But to meet and put faces to the actual people who are making all of them, and it was unreal. It was incredible. And I came back and definitely looked at my cooks a little harder, and most definitely looked at all of the stations. And I was like, okay, well, how much are we getting off the rind of that Parmesan? Like, what are we utilizing everything for? How much is it? It led to there's a little bit of waste on the prosciutto. There's like a nub at the end that you can't actually slice anymore. It's like, well, with that, hearing about the ham, seeing the ham get made, I was like, we can't waste this. Like, it needs to be produced into something. We used to do bar snacks with it. We figured out that if we grind it, which we have a butcher in-house, which is also unreal. If we send it to the butcher when we collect enough and they grind it down for us, we can render that into just delicious prosciutto that can be sprinkled on vegetables, can be introduced into pastas, all of those things. It was a trip that, I thought I already appreciated Italian food, and it pushed it that much more.
And yet you treat a carrot and an onion the same.
And the carrots and onions are the same. My cooks look at me like I'm crazy when I go around and be like, why would you throw that away?
Yeah. Okay.
We have people coming here to just show us different products and everything. I cry when I have when they was cleaning the fish and they take the head or these bones to the trash. No, it's food. You can make so much stuff there. You can have fun for this one. Everybody was like, calm down. No, look at this. It's the product that you can reutilize for something else. We have like our, they're calling like a trash beans, and the cooler, which is not really trash, is the all onion scrap, shallot and garlic is in one container, everything pepper related for another one, tomatoes and 3 or different kind of tomatoes, and then the other one, which is everything else. So we make veggie stock, and then we make asparagus broth based to make the asparagus sauce or to make the asparagus cream. So it's like we can reutilize it, we can fortify flavors, we can use it somehow. When Chef Tia was talking about the carrots, I was laughing because we have carrot top oil, carrot top gel, carrot puree, carrot oil, and now we're making even little twirls with corn because people are gluten free, so we need to use corn instead, and we use the carrot oil, and now they have nice decoration on top. They're gluten free also, so
That's awesome.
it's those little things that you can keep doing and keep pushing to make what else is next, what else we can do now.
Okay, so Tia, since you represent all kitchens, and we've just covered a little bit of Summit and Del Lago, maybe you could give us a couple of must-try dishes at one of the other locations that maybe is a favorite of yours.
Absolutely. I mean, there's many other options across property. We can start with 1858, and there are many selections of trout that they have, and they're just simply grilled one would be my favorite. And it's just that, it's simply grilled. And then the golf club kitchen golf club for hotel guests and members, they have a shrimp linguine pasta that if I ever go there, that's what I'm going to have. It's creamy and spicy, but kind of light at the same time. And you get some delicious fried okra on top of that just to kind of accent it a little bit. The hotel bar, they're very approachable with many of their things. Sliders would be very approachable for anybody over there with a bacon jam on top of that, and just one or two bites kind of hold you over for it between lunch and dinner, or between wherever you may be going off property if you need to do that. Or even if you just want something light for the day. Hotel bar's got many of those options. The pool has come a long way from what they used to be and to what they are now. They've got their classics over there with their quesadillas and their burgers and hot dogs and corn dogs. You can't go wrong with any of those either. And then, where else am I missing? Tavern's really nice. Taverns also come a long way. You can't pass up their French onion soup. There's a couple other places on property that do have a French onion soup, and it's not the same. It's not the same as Tavern. Tavern is where French onion soup needs to be all the time, and that's what you have to get when you go into Tavern, is their French onion soup. And then if you need to continue on after French onion soup and you're just not fully satisfied after that, they have a really nice summer halibut on their menu right now, and that's very light with almost like a pesto on top and some light summer vegetables, and it's also really delicious as well.
Maybe you could represent desserts for a moment. What's the go-to dessert or two for the sweet tooths?
Yeah, it was actually before desserts. I was gonna, people come to the Broadmoor usually to celebrate something or to spend a weekend. What's the most decadent thing someone can get at one of the restaurants here? Like, what's instead of the most popular, what's the top item that someone can
Room
get?
service.
Room service.
Room service.
Now.
Yeah.
Just get spoiled there.
Yeah. That's something that I look at. Like, if I do travel and I go somewhere, I'm like, well, what's their room service menu look like? Because that's a luxury not everybody can accomplish. You can't get room service at your Super 8 hotel if it's where you go. So yeah, look at the room service menu. It's got things on there that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's very Colorado. It's very the Broadmoor.
Is that curated from all of the restaurants as a whole, or is it its own menu unto
Yes,
itself?
there is pieces from every part of the Broadmoor on that room service menu. It is an option that you could get room service from Del Lago specifically and order off of their
to
menu.
spoil people.
So
You guys need to remember, everybody at the Broadmoor like to spoil people. So you guys are our guests, and we made room service from Summit to another place. We made room service from the Lago to another place when I was here too. So it's a lot of that there. It's just a whole experience. Right?
Is
don't
the
like
room
to say no.
service, is that a separate kitchen, like from all of the different restaurants? Do those orders go to a separate, if they're just
Yes.
ordering room service, there's a separate kitchen? Okay.
Yes.
they
Interesting.
share a kitchen a little bit. They share a kitchen. That whole main complex over there, the main kitchen in there supplies amenities, hotel bar, room service,
Oh, wow.
cafe.
Holy cow.
The cafes for Cafe Julie's, Natural Epicurean for their cold case items. The employee cafeteria comes out of that main kitchen as well. There's many things that chef handles over there, and I can't say enough
I think
great
about
things
it
about her.
like NORAD nearby. I've been fortunate enough to tour NORAD once, and then I've been down in the kitchens here. But it's like this NORAD's this secret thing in the mountain, right? And you get in there, and it's this whole little world. But here, for every we're sitting in this beautiful dining room, but behind this, there's that prep kitchen and the next prep kitchen, and there's this world under here with just layers of kitchens and talented people everywhere. It's really impressive to see. I mean, that's my quick walkthrough description of it, but I don't even know how to describe it in square footage or something. It's enormous, the operation here. Huge.
Big, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very big.
Yeah. I don't even know how many people. Do you even know how many people?
A lot.
Tia's
A lot.
Yeah.
It changes daily. It changes weekly. It's up and down throughout the seasons. Our off season is definitely a lot less white coats around, and versus what we have now. But yeah, it changes. It fluctuates drastically sometimes. But that's based on business too.
I mean, we got apprentices, we have externs, we have internationals, we have people from here, from Colorado, people who actually came here just because they met somebody. So it's a very, very big amount of people, different cultures. They're over here.
So for the amount of time that you all spend here, working away in the kitchens, where do you go when you're not here? Where in town do you go to eat?
My house.
If you're not going to but if you're going to go out and not go to the Broadmoor, where do you go? What do you crave? What type of food do you gravitate towards?
When you're one of us, when you're just acting like a normal person, where do you want to eat?
We don't eat.
Right, they have to remind
They
each
need to
other to
remind
eat.
us to eat.
Have
so
you
that's
ever
what-
been out in Colorado Springs outside of the Broadmoor for a meal? Randy, anything? Come
I
on.
really like Korean food. I'm always searching for some Korean food around town. There's a few locations that are still standing. A lot of them have closed down from my years being here, which is good for the families because their kids are pursuing higher pursuits, I guess. But
Are you like a Tong girl, Sanchang?
I do really like Sanchang. It's one of my favorites. Unfortunately, my day off usually falls on their closure. And
That's
Tong
brutal.
Tong, of course. Young's is also
Tong
very
Tong.
good.
Young's, yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking for hot pot like crazy around town.
There is
There's
Hot Pot
one,
Story.
and they are also closed when
I
typically
just
on my
went
day
there.
off.
You got to
Was
go to
it
Hot
good?
Pot Story. It was
Okay, I do
awesome.
need to see
They
Hot
got
Pot
the
Story.
conveyor belt.
Yes,
It's so much fun.
I've been so excited because
Just-
I've been driving by it. I'm like,
Call in
when?
sick one day. You have my permission. We won't tell.
It's contagious. I'm going with you.
It's
Yeah,
contagious. Rocio is going.
Just closures for Summit and Ristorante del Lago.
Okay.
I got it.
All right, come on.
Shit.
Like,
Wednesday.
Tia, you've eaten out somewhere other than your house. Come on, something.
I really enjoy tacos. Tacos is my weakness.
Yeah.
I love tacos.
You never have
And-
too many tacos.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a sucker for the simplest of things. There's a place downtown called Dos Santos. I really like Dos Santos tacos. And, when I really am feeling, I don't know, even more different, I go to Torchy's Tacos. I mean, it's chain, but
It's
I
good.
still think it's fine. It's good for what I want to make me happy, and having a beverage right next to it is even better.
I want you to know on this very show, well, not this episode of this show, but earlier episode of this show, we had the mayor on, and Mayor Yimmy called for more taco shops. It was like a mayoral decree of sorts in a very informal
Executive
way.
order, I think. is
Executive
what
order,
it's called,
more taco shops. Just want to throw that out there, just so you're in good company. The mayor is with you on the taco thing.
Tacos.
Rocio, come on, throw something you've dined at that you liked, that you. Don't worry, we'll edit out this 45-second gap of time while she thinks.
Got the Jeopardy
Well,
music.
yeah. No, I like Korean food. I like Tong Tong too. I like Indian food. There's this place, Urban Tandoori.
Urban
Up
Tender,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Have you been
really
to their
like-
new one, the Mossum place over in Old
Not
Car City?
yet.
You know about that? This guy, they brought in a Michelin awarded chef from China to open that. And it's the same people that own Urban Tandoor.
Right.
So on your next day off, you've got to go there and check that out. It's super legit.
That sounds really good.
It's probably going to be on your off day, sad to say. But, again, you're going to need to call in
And
sick,
then when I
but
was
go.
sick, yeah.
Yeah, suddenly if we just took down productivity by 20% of the
Just eat
Broadmoor.
the spiciest food so that if they see you out, you're
And a
just
bad
sweating.
Latina.
And,
Yeah, that'd be very
I'm a bad
natural.
Latina. My husband is from Virginia. He's spicier than me.
All right, we're going to wind this down with a final mini series of questions, and it starts with something that each of you are really proud of doing during your time here at the Broadmoor. Is there an accomplishment you can share with us? I didn't prep you for this one. This is like in the moment, you got to think of this.
I'm very proud of my position that I have right now. Never did I think that I would be running Ristorante del Lago and overseeing play. Again, we write our own stories about ourselves, of course, but starting here 10 years ago, the climate was a little bit different. There were 0 women chefs. We had a couple junior Sues to my side. But other than that, the head chefs, they were all white males. And the importance placed on Ristorante del Lago, on certain kitchens too, we kind of create in our own minds. We're all important, like all of the kitchens here. There's the Golden Bee, hotel bar, pool, like we all do a tremendous job together. Being said, we all, again, I think as cooks, as students, we place importance on certain restaurants over other ones. Ristorante del Lago, in my mind, was always like, wow, that's a very important kitchen. That's something that I didn't even dream that I would be a contender for. I'm very proud that I started. This was my first kitchen as well. I started as an apprentice here working breakfast. And moved all the way up. So that is one heck of an accomplishment that I am very proud of.
I'm gonna say like this year I officially helping in the apprentice program, and for me it's important because again there wasn't really culinary schools in Peru. It was a lot of what do I saw, this magazine, this TV show, etc. When I came here, I came as an extern. There was, in that time, there was like it was a slightly different program. So I grew with them. It was a lot of, I finished this college and this school and this other school, and you just finish in second year and you still know more than me. That's not fair. I want to be that and I want to be better. And it's also about everything what we can share with all the other cooks. I know I made a joke of the Stockholm syndrome and everything, but we get very sentimental because we are far away to home and this is our home far away and we have a lot of pressure and everything. But I have kids telling me, hey chef, I'm getting married, can you come to Thailand? No. Hey chef, I'm opening a restaurant or they offer me this job, what do you think about it? Do you think I should make this because I want to make this in my career, or things like that? And it's for me it's an accomplishment. I've been in their position and I'm growing and I keep growing every day with all the people that I work with, and at the same time helping them and do everything what I can for them.
Same as these guys here, I'm really proud of the position that I'm in now. I started here kind of lower level and then always had that goal, and I always had that person that I was looking up to, like, hey, I want to be that person next. And then I would accomplish that. And then I was like, well, I want to do that next. And I accomplished that. And then I kind of got in a rut for a little bit and I just wasn't inspired for a little bit, but that happens with everybody. And then I found that next person that I wanted to be, and then there was that next person. Like, I was always looking up to somebody, and somewhere along that way Chef Justin Miller's always been that person that's always been up there. Not always, but he's been in the realm of that. And now being his right-hand person to help manage this massive property, it was a huge accomplishment, and my family has been super supportive. And one part of the family were like, yeah, you're not going to do that, good luck, but you're not going to do that. And then that was just more of like a striving factor to be proving you wrong. And then once I got this position, it was surreal for a little while. It was very surreal for a little while. And then it also was brought to my attention, you're the first female chef in this position in the entire history of the Broadmoor. So that also was very surreal, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. But then like a week later it was said again, and I was like, that's actually really, really cool, and really a great opportunity that I get to be a part of that.
I'm glad you said that, because that's sort of what we hoped to capture by sitting down with each of you. You've kind of just summed it up. Like, it is special. We should be celebrating women in these roles, especially given the history and where we came from and how hard it is to get there. Again, outside of any gender, these are hard roles, but especially just for everything you've accomplished. So It's really awesome to take that moment and appreciate it. And we are honored that you came on our show to help us do that today and let us do this episode with you and tell your story. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I have one last question, and really, it's sort of around a lot of things we've been talking about. But like, what type of legacy do you want, both yourselves or the kitchens here at the Broadmoor to have on the next generation, the next generation after that? What legacy do you want the barriers that you've broken through? What do you want that to do for those next generations of chefs and kids and people looking at culinary pursuits?
I think it's really just continuing to push yourself and striving for what you want. And then when you achieve that goal, finding something else that you want, and just being that person that is constantly pushing to be more. And then I have 2 children as well, and I also am trying to instill that in them as well. Like, well, what do you want to do in 5 years? What do you want to do in 3 years? Even my 7-year-old son, that's not real to him. Every single time I ask that, it's something different. But it gets his mind kind of going into what to have goals for. And I think goals are important for everybody. And then helping the team amongst the Broadmoor to set higher goals for themselves and, break that glass ceiling. And there is no ceiling. Keep going forward and continuing to raise the standards and raise the expectancies of the guests for what they're coming here to pay for, and getting their money's worth for what they're paying for here.
I think for me, it's like Tia says, a lot of, don't worry, just do it. Keep. You think you cannot do it? Why? There's 3 people here who start from different positions, and we keep going on it. And we are proud of what we're doing, but especially we are proud of them. They are learning from us. They are learning and getting better than us. And that's what we all trying to be. We're cooks. We want to be the best one. Just keep trying, keep making, and keep going. That's it.
I think the legacy that I would like to instill and am pursuing to do is to create that culture that we all have as leaders here, amongst our cooks who are predominantly J1 students who, they're here for a year and then they go back to their home country. In that year, it's really important that they have a community. And they do, and they know some of the kids that they came over with, but I like to, in pre-shift, we get maybe a little bit woo-woo, but I like to make it a habit of everybody, appreciating one another. Say something nice about somebody in this kitchen, and I usually leave it open, and we usually stand for a little bit if nobody wants to participate. And I'm like, this is just digging into everybody's prep time. I'm just like, you can say something nice about somebody, or you could be in the weeds. Take your choice.
I like your clean white jacket. There, I said it.
But just reinforcing, how tremendously the kitchens have changed in attitude and how we are a community for each other, I think is incredibly important, and something that I try to do on a daily with my team.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days to talk with us. It was enlightening for me. I don't know. I mean, Matt already knows everything, but
Yeah,
I got goosebumps halfway through there. So thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge and everything. So
Thank you for using our colors.
I dressed the part today.
all right.
We both. We'll find it. Anyway, well, thank you. All right, we're out.